We'll start out with a general review of what's available in Google. Most of you know that I'm a big fan of the Google email that we have available with us. So I'm going to get me out of the way and let us get on with the working here. So here we go. Now what we're going to do is when you first log in with the system, what you will see is something like the screen here that's available for you. You've got Sites, Docs, Calendar, Email, Chat, and Google Groups for Mail. When you log in, you can check to make sure everything is what it should be by looking at the name that is up here in the upper right corner. You will see new.agentowner, and that is a new email that I have just created a little while ago to use for today's lesson. Now, when you get started, there are several things here. One is the sites, and I'm just going to go over that very quickly. When you click on the sites, what's going to happen is something along the lines of this: create a site or browse sites within the AgentOwned Realty.com system. So we're going to stick with our own here, and we've got several different listings here that are available. My favorite is email, and you'll see why. Here we go, AgentOwned Technology. So we're going to go into the technology site. We're going to go to the link that's here. And with that, you will see a number of different documents that we have available that are shared for everybody in the AgentOwned Realty email. Now, the reason I'm doing this first is there's one, let's see, where is it? Right here, Managing Your Contact Database with Google. And that is the outline that I'm going to be using today. And it should pop up in just a moment, kind of give you a basic outline of what we're going to go over and a few little pictures to show you what things should look like when you start working on the project for the actual phone and coordinating your contacts with your phone contacts. So that's the basic outline that I'm going to use today, and that's available for you. Now we're going to go back to that starting page and look at the other options that are available when you first log in to your AgentOwned Realty email. Okay. Went a little further than I anticipated. Okay. And let's see. There we go. Now, although today's topic is about contacts, you notice that they are not on here. They are a subgroup within email. So I'm going to start with the email that we've got available. And here's what you see with email. Now, most of you are familiar with using the email. It's here for us. Here are the different listings. There is a difference with the AgentOwned Realty email and the email that you will see in the Outlook, Outlook Express, and some of the other email utilities. They have what are called folders where you can store information. The problem with the folders is that typically you've got an email and it has to be in either folder 1 or folder 2. Oh, shoot. Oh, goodness. Okay. Can you hear now? Let's see. I've got a question on hearing. If you would type in yes or no with the hearing here, I would appreciate it. That's right. Yes. Okay. Now, was the sound out for everyone with the beginning of this? If someone is having problems hearing, please check the volume on the monitors and what you've got going within your own computer system. That can be a problem. So, okay, to continue. This is the email system that we have. There is a problem with folders because an email typically is in either folder A or folder B. With the label system, you can have an email that has multiple labels. And here we have some of the emails that were received as a general catch-all when Liz emailed everybody within the AgentOwned Realty system. And these are the emails that came in. Now, I've got one that's labeled as a miscellaneous here. These are the labels that we have, and we've got 4 more that are available as well. Now what you can do is we can take a label from here and drag it over and say, boom. Okay, now this email is now labeled as a webinar, but that's one that we're also going to label as a miscellaneous. So again, you can have emails with multiple labels. The advantage, of course, to this is if you've got emails coming from people and you want to label them differently and still not have multiple emails. Therefore, you can have one email and have it as a label that might be a prospective purchaser, as well as someone who's interested in property on a golf course, as well as somebody who wants property, say, at Crowfield or Hobcall Point or one of those locations. So it allows you to use multiple labels with a single item. We can do that also in contacts, and I'll go over that when we get into the contacts. There are several other features here. You can see the labels that are available here. You can see more actions here. Now, mark all as read, mark as read, etc. These are grayed out because I have not selected an email. You'll notice that when I select an email and go back in, now I have actions. The actions vary depending upon the email and what is available with that email, with the email and the labels. Mark as unread, add to task, add a star. You can bring up starred information, emails that will come up and use that as a follow-up or something that you want to follow up at a later date. You can actually change these stars around. You can create an event. Therefore, you take emails that come in from your contacts and tie them directly in with the calendar as well. You can filter messages, and that's another advanced course. We're not going into that. We're just touching on that today. Where do these come from? They come from the settings. And here are the settings that are available for us. You can go in here, and you can go here to create or hide labels, and by showing or hiding, that's what you actually see up here. The hidden ones are the 4 or more that are over here on the left side and are out of sight. So anything that's a priority as far as labels, or not just a priority but very frequently used, you would want to put that in the visible area here. Accounts, filters to sort out, forwarding and pop mail, chat, web clips, and labs. Labs is a special feature that has a number of different little add-ins and bells and whistles that help enhance the usage of the email. If you'll scroll down, you'll see enable and disable. And as you go through here, these things change on almost a daily basis, definitely a weekly basis. Google is very good about adding to these the different things that will help you in the way you work. The idea is to find what works for you and enable those and then use them. I just want to touch on this and show you some of the things that are available. Everything here from my cutie is the mail goggles that test to see whether or not you're sober before you send that email. There are things that will ask you if you've got the right bob when you're sending it out, because normally you send emails to a certain bob and this is a different one. There is a time delay that allows you to, go in and catch the fact that you forgot to include an attachment. There is also a feature that will say this email mentions attachments, but you did not include one. This is another one that helps right here. That is a nested label, much like your nested folders where you would have home, kids, and shopping folders. Here we have home, kids, and shopping as labels so that you can have labels within labels within labels. A very nice feature. And again, some of them are cutesy, but there are a number of them that you will find very useful as you work along. They allow you to change chat around. This is something that if you're right-handed, it's not a problem. If you're left-handed, you might want to switch things back and forth, much like the mouse buttons that you can reverse from time to time. Signature tweaks. Sometimes this is a surprise to me as well as to what's been added since I checked it this morning. The undo send is one that we talked about where it allows you to add an extra person or stop the send, and you can actually set the time whether it gives you a lag time of 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or 20 seconds. And those are some of the nice little features that we have available with the Labs feature. You have a priority mailbox, and then you can actually also use this as in an online setting, which is tantamount to having a backup of the email. That works well if you're traveling and you're going to be out of connection with the internet for a while and you can't use the email online. Then you can take it to the offline utility and make use of it there. That way, if you're traveling, say in a plane, or you're in areas of the country and you're not driving, then you can actually make use of that as a static, and then that will synchronize when you get back within the range of the internet. To move along, that's kind of problem we're trying now. Now let's go to, I think I've got the calendar here is set. You can change calendar views. You can have multiple calendars. As we saw with the email, you can also go in and create events directly from the emails that come to you. This little line right here signifies our current time and our time zone. What do you want to see? Do you want to see it by the day, the week, the month, 4 days, or do you want to base it on what the agenda is that you have set up for the day? You can actually set different calendars and give each calendar its own color so that things are color-coded. You can keep the calendars online, or you can actually print them out with the different events, red, yellow, green, whatever is important to you, giving a color that that you recognize as this is a high priority, this is a low priority. Just want to barely touch on these. We're going into documents. These are the documents that you saw earlier when we went into sites, but it also has some other things that we've added to the documents folder that we have for each Agent-Owned Realty email account. That account can hold 7,000 megabytes, which is quite a bit. It can also hold numerous documents in here, Word documents, PDFs that most everybody can read on their computer with a free Adobe Reader. You can have spreadsheets and things like this. You can organize it. Again, you can store it. You can actually set it within folders. The other thing about the documents is you can use it as a storage place, as I have for the setup for the Chrome browser, or for this one. Now, what is this? Let's see. That's a utility to clean the registry. You can also set up a description with it as well, so that you know what the different cryptic files are. If you don't recognize the asc-setup.exe, then you can look over here and say, oh, that's what it is. Some people have actually created documents and shared those documents with their clients and allow their clients only to view, or you can actually set it so that they are shared to be used with the contacts that you have. Now, back to the mail. Let's see. And the reason we're going back here is to show one thing and then move into the contacts themselves. As I said, the contacts are actually a subgroup under the mail. Now, let's see what we've got from Liz here. Now, we noticed that this is in both the miscellaneous label and the webinar label. What we can do is go over here, and we can see that we can add Liz Lodeholt to our contact list, making it easy to get her into the contacts. Now, is that going to go out on the internet and search and find Liz's phone number, her work number, her home number, her street address, her office address? No, those have to be added by you individually, but it will give you the start by using both her name and the email address that's here. So it does have some carryover to kind of make it easy to gradually move into the contacts. And that's where we will go now. And these are contacts. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can get the contacts into your Google Mail. Obviously, you can add it individually. You can have them imported, and when you import them, you can import them either from the Outlook that you've been using, from another email utility, or from a spreadsheet. If you import it from Outlook, then there's a system where you export it out of Outlook and import it into your Gmail. One of the documents that we mentioned earlier actually addresses how to do that and get it out of the Outlook and then to bring it into the Gmail. One thing about that is it depends upon how you've set up your contacts as to how well they will import into the Gmail system. Recently I was working on exporting some contacts out of Outlook and importing them into the Gmail system, and it brought in the first name and nothing else. This kind of left me wondering, and I tried again this morning, and sure enough, it depends upon the actual system that you have. These were all imported from my own Outlook. It was an old version of Outlook, and when they came in, these contacts came in with the accompanying labels that you'll see over here on the left side. I did not have to reset these up, but they came in with these labels because when they were in the Outlook contacts, I had them set up with categories. Those categories translated over to the labels that we have here. Again, this is my personal one, and you can see I have Christmas cards in class, and my church, Dell, Folly Beach, home, hot contacts, ideas, etc., that you might or might not be using there. Again, when you want to see, okay, let's see who has this label. Okay, that's there. Let's see who's with what's with the class. We've got 2 fictitious agents that have signed up for classes that I've been giving. And you can continue down and let's see. Now, I went in and took an Excel spreadsheet, and an Excel spreadsheet by itself will not bring your contacts into Google. What you have to do is take that Excel spreadsheet, open it up, and then save it as a comma-separated value. That translates to CSV, and an easy way to remember it is the drugstore, which is CVS. It's very close and helps you remember how you're supposed to get it out. When I brought those in, I brought them into the Outlook and I put them in a separate group, and here they are, and this is what translated over with them. Now, again, you can see that the group, that's right. Now, in the directions about how to export out of Outlook and import into the Gmail, the most important thing is actually remembering where you exported it to. Because you will export it out of Outlook, it will automatically set a location, and you have to remember where that location is when it's time to import into the Gmail. Okay, now let's see some of the things we can do. And let's see, here we go. Just a little bit more groups. You can add other contacts to the Outlook. Let's go back. Yeah. And you can go here, and we're going to import. So here's the chance to import, and it says please select either a CSV, and that's almost the same as the drugstore, or a vCard file to upload. Although it will work with spreadsheets, the spreadsheets have to be converted to a CSV file first. Then choose the file. That's obviously the hard part of remembering exactly where you place the file that you're going to use. Let's see. And you notice that this is a CSV file that I have. Now, what do I want to do? I can let it go into the general mail, or I can set up a new group, or I can import it directly into one of the other labels that I already have set up, one of the other groups that I already have in the system. Now, as I mentioned, the contacts are not limited to one label or one group. You can have the same contact in multiple groups, just like we saw in the emails. At this point, I'm going to put these in a new group and import. Well, you know, what do I want to call the group? Well, now it asks me to name that. So there's the name, and we'll go OK. And it tells us whether we imported them and whether there were any problems with that. and that shows you the names that you have imported. Now let's find that group. That's Outlook 2, and here are the names that we just brought into the system. Now as we look at those, we see we do have a phone number. There we go. And we've got the, what happened here? Okay, Agent MP6 needs a photo. Well, we'll let that go for now. But again, this is again, a picture that you can use with your cell phone camera and add to this. You've got the information over here. Sometimes it goes into the proper location. Sometimes it goes under the notes. Now, you can get around this by making sure that all of the names of the labels of the information coming in match up with the labels that are in Google. That's all I'll say about that, because that's a lesson in and of itself about how to import and import properly, correctly, and easily from a spreadsheet or a CSV file or from Outlook. Now we've got these here, but you know, sometimes you want to have special additions that are not part of the standard when you're looking at a contact, and you want to add certain things that are specific for that individual. Let's look at the, let's go back to all the contacts here. And this is one that I started this morning. And, okay, it's trying to get pictures in there. Now, I've got yesterday they were ready to purchase, and tomorrow is when they're ready to sell. Now, how did I get that in there? Because that doesn't look like something that would be part of the standard Google Gmail system. Well, that's a custom that I added to that you can go up here. Let's see. I'm sorry. Add recent conversations. Oh. Yeah. We can do the add here. Usually there's also an edit mode that you can move in, and you can go into custom, and then that gives you both a space to set it up and if you want to trash it here. And that allows you to then create and create and create one after the other, either here, and that's what we would have. Now, the best usage for this are things that are typically unique for the contacts themselves. At this time, Google and Gmail do not have the ability to create a custom template, so that whenever you pull up for a new contact, like you would do, let's see here, that when you bring it up, it does not automatically have those custom fields in the template itself. So what you would do is, where you've got something that you're going to use for a number of people, that really says it's something that you should have over here as a group. So what you might have over here is a group of people ready to sell within a week, people ready to sell within a month, people ready to sell within a year. Something along those lines, or people ready to purchase. You could have other areas like that as well, depending upon how you work your marketing and how you contact the people and stay in touch. The most important thing is, of course, using this to keep your name and your face in front of your contacts. Typically, these are people that you've dealt with before, and therefore they are the best ones that are going to do referrals. I know a number of the agent owners that I've spoken with have said that most of the people that they are selling with are people that they've sold with before. I've talked with other agent owners that have sold homes to people, and then they've sold to their children, and then they've sold to their grandchildren. So depending upon your future years in the marketplace, it definitely pays to keep in touch with the people that are there and keep your name in front of them. You've heard before that the people that you've dealt with would use you again if they were still in contact with you, if your face was in front of them, if your number was still current, if your email was there. So the balance is finding out how to keep your connection with these people current without keeping it to the point, pushing it to the point where it's overwhelming them and they're thinking of it as spam. Notes are a good place where you can go in and make additions as you talk to the people from time to time, so that the next time you talk to them, you bring up that information and keep it current and keep it with them. That works out well if you're with what's important in their life, whether the kids are having a soccer match, whether someone's getting married, whether there's a new baby or grandbaby or whatever it is. It helps your mind remember exactly what the details were and create that connection that we call relationship, which is going to help keep you in the forefront of their memory. Is what?
Is there a limit?
I don't think there is a limit, because as you work through the notes area here and get to the bottom, you start getting a little slide bar that allows you to add and add and add more to it. You will notice here that when you add, one thing that I glossed over because we were doing custom additions is the fact that you can do other types of additions to the contacts as well, where you can add nicknames, company phonetic names, phones. Here we go. The relationship, whether they're family, whether they are referred by a friend, instant messaging, internet calls, as well as the notes. So there is a lot that you can add in here. Now, again, look at the drop downs. Here we can change that from a work phone to a mobile, from a work phone to a main phone number. And again, these are things that you can add, customize, depending upon what the information is you have on that specific contact. Now, one of the nice things about the Gmail system is that they have the built-in connections with the smartphones, and that goes both with the Droid that uses the Google operating system, as well as the BlackBerry and, of course, the iPhone. And now we've got a new Windows version with the Windows 7 phone as well. And Google has moved out into those areas and has made it easy to synchronize both your contacts, your calendar, and your email with your phone, contacts, calendar, and email. Therefore, when you're on the road traveling and all you have is your cell phone, you can look it up and find the information you need. If I give you a new phone number, you can put it into my contact information while you're pulled over to the side of the road and stopped and taken the information. And then when you get back to the office, that new phone number will appear within the Google system. It does not do that by itself or by magic. It does have ways to do that which will work well. Now, if you followed through, let's see if I can find it up here. No. With the instructions that I had mentioned earlier here we go. Google.com mobile product sync. Google Sync setup instructions. If you go to this website address, you will get the video here. You will also notice that on the side you have the BlackBerry, the iPhone, the Nokia, the Sync email, and the Windows setup instructions, so that you can work through these to see exactly what it is depending upon the type of phone you have. With the number of agent owners we have, I cannot set up everybody's cell phone, and if I tried to give you a standard set of instructions, again, I would have to at least have this many categories, because you know that there are numerous BlackBerries, numerous Nokia phones, numerous Droid phones that use the Google system, as well as different makers for the Windows phone. Fortunately for people that have the iPhone, it is a very standardized system, and one set of instructions would work for people with that phone. If you scroll down lower on the page, you'll see what you've got down here about what the different features are and the availability is in each of those systems for the different features that Google provides for you. And scroll through with this. Now, we showed you about how to add a contact directly from an email, setting up groups of contacts. That makes it is very easily, let's see, where you can go in and, let's see, where are we? Yeah. bring you back to the contacts and get this responding well here. Most contacted, other contacts, new group, and import contacts down here. Sometimes you have to be careful when you're importing the contacts in. They will end up in a nebulous group if you don't put them in a specific group or add them to My Contacts. And that will show up when you look at the My Contacts number here and the total number of contacts. Okay, I may be working in overload mode. Okay. They are, again, this works well, but you need to make sure that your browser is current and working. Let's see, here we go. Now we'll move to contacts. There. Now, we click here, here, and we can drag, or we can say add to my contacts, more actions. Okay, I'm going to set these. So now you will notice that the boat label over here just had 5 more added to it. And those are the 5 that were there. Now you can see some of the other labels over here, excuse me, as well as to what it is. That again allows you to have one contact in multiple labels. Let's see, more actions. As far as the sorting goes, you've got that. This is a brand new feature of Restore Contacts. It's probably about a week or so old, and it allows you to recover the contacts you've decided to delete. A very good feature if you've ever done one of those uh-ohs and realized just about the time your finger came off of the mouse button that that was not the correct contact to delete. This is especially true if you've got duplicates. And again, that's something else that Google will work on with you. Let's see. And what you can do is you can go in and you can search for and find and merge duplicates, another nice feature that it has available. The other thing about this contact list is that once you have it and you have it set up, you can then not only import into it, but you can export from it. And the reason that that is very important is when you look at your marketing and how you want to market things. If you go in and you export out of this, you can export either by groups or you can export the entire list. It's very nice to be able to export by groups, get the addresses and pass those addresses along to the marketing department so they can use those addresses for outgoing marketing. You do not have to have a separate address list that you keep specifically for them. You can use the list that's in the Google Contacts, and as we saw, just do an export out, and then you're ready to go. You can pass that list along, and that list will work well with the marketing with their mail merge for the mailing labels. That pretty much covers the basics that I wanted to go over this morning or this afternoon with you, and just kind of give you an introduction. There are other details that we can use to set up to actually expand on what we've got here with the database. Now, how do we tie this to calendar? Yep. As you work through, we notice that you can use the incoming emails to create an event. It's the type of thing if they say, okay, well, I'm going to be interested in selling my house in March. Well, then you create an event for March or April or May or whenever that time is with that person, and then that calendar event will come up and remind you to make a call. What does that event look like? Okay. Here the event is in detail. You saw briefly the beginning of it, but this is it in detail. It can be an all-day event if it's something like a family reunion. It can be a repeating event if it's something that occurs on a weekly or monthly basis, where it is, which calendar. We've only got one calendar, so that's the only calendar there. The guest to add in the description, and you can bring in the details here. So you can tie in your contacts with your calendar. When you've got your cell phone synchronized with your Google Calendar, then your cell phone will also remind you. Now, how will it remind you? You can go down here and have it remind you either with an email or a pop-up. Because I do not have this account currently synchronized with my phone, it does not allow instant messaging, but you can if you've got it synchronized, or rather when you've got it synchronized, it will have the SMS ability here to pop up an instant message to remind you that this event is taking place. Depending upon the lead time, you can set it from minutes to hours, days, and weeks. So depending upon the enormity of the event, then you can follow through with the prep time. And you're not limited to these two. Note that you can add multiple reminders so that you can have it remind you with an email, with a pop-up, 10 minutes ahead, plus another email and pop-up an hour ahead, depending upon whether the appointment is across the street, whether it's a call you're going to make, or whether it's down in Savannah or something along those lines, so that you've prepped ahead of time. You want to make sure that when you get there, you have the correct information. You don't want the reminder to pop up and say you've got 30 minutes to make it to your appointment, and you still have to go through and do the research on the listing for the listing presentation. So you can have it set one and then for the other. Now, again, this lets you see how public or private it is. Make sure that you keep the things private to yourself with this. You don't want to allow them out to the public. You can actually create calendars of free time and allow your clients to see those calendars. You can share those calendars with your clients, and only those calendars. They will not see that that you've got a soccer game that you're going to, or you're going out to dinner on that evening. All they see is that you're busy and you've only got the time between 2 and 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon available. So it gives them a definite time and provides you with a little bit of time for your R&R as well. If there are any other questions, I'll be happy to do my best to answer those. Okay. Well, everybody knows everything there is. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good afternoon.